But yeah, I wanted this to be pretty casual. I definitely, like I said, I hope that people can take something out of this from my iOS dev journey that is either something that they already knew before, and that's just kind of like a nice little reminder, or maybe you'll learn something new. But without further ado, we'll get into it here. Again, my name is Greg, the imposter one. And This is going over a little bit about the agenda here. I'll talk a little bit about me. I'll get into my career timeline, and then just a couple of big takeaways. This is a picture of me, my wife, and my dog. These are the sand dunes in Michigan. We actually live in Columbus, Ohio, so we were kind of in enemy territory for people who know that rivalry. But yeah, I'm an iOS developer currently on a contract to hire with Northwestern Mutual. My wife is a designer at IBM, and our dog ate a lot of sand that day. So just a little bit about us. But the two of us, we actually work on an app together called Scribble Journey, which is basically a mental health drawing app for people who want to get more tuned into their emotions. And I'll get a little bit more into that now. So I'm going to show a slide here. This is what I call a my career timeline per se. Again, I'm a very visual person, so I've used this in presentations before, just being able to get things sort of laid out, and it's nice to be able to update whenever things change, and it's nice to see the sort of zoomed out effect. But I actually started out as a pharmaceutical sales representative. I graduated from Ohio State with a marketing degree. So I was actually going to different doctors' offices talking about migraine medication, diabetes medication, et cetera. And that entire time, even throughout college, I knew that I wanted to learn to code. So I was teaching myself on like Free Code Camp, Codecademy, et cetera, basically how to code. And just some background on this timeline as well. The blue bubbles are actually more career related things. And then the pink bubbles are more Scribble Journey related things. So that app that I talked about briefly earlier. But I ended up doing a Java boot camp at Tech Elevator. It's actually based out of Columbus. I actually even have a remote component. Willing to answer more questions about that if anybody has any questions. But it's basically a 14-week full stack Java boot camp. Ended up parlaying that into a job in Java that was more back end focused, building a pharmacy platform, basically for people to be able to generate tips and a lot of other healthcare jargon. Above that, you can kind of see where the Scribble Journey bubbles start. I put technologies used here because I think it's interesting for this audience to kind of see how people pivot over time to different technologies. I actually started building our Scribble Journey app with the UI kit just because that's kind of where everybody seemed to start at the time when I was looking up tutorials and stuff like that. This was around July of 2020. Eventually, I pivoted to React Native because I was like, hey, it seems like people should be able to build cross-platform apps. And then Swift UI is pretty great, as we all know. So I eventually ended up pivoting over that way and sort of ended up sticking with that. But you can see there's a lot of time between the first pink bubble and the last pink bubble there of like launching Scribble Journey. So it was quite the journey to be able to launch it. And right before there, we were able to actually get selected for Apple Entrepreneur Camp, which is a one-on-one technology lab for underrepresented founders and developers. I'm willing to answer more questions on that as well. And I was able to secure my first full-time iOS job, and that was in February, just about a month and a half ago. So yeah, it's just been a pretty wild journey. That is kind of the timeline view there. And I'd love to share a couple of big takeaways, just rather than talking about myself. Maybe you guys will be able to take something away from the little takeaways that I have here. But the first thing being journeys are not linear. You heard me say journeys are crazy. But I think us as humans, like whenever we compare it's natural for us to want to compare other people's journeys to ourselves, but everybody has their own journey and your journey is special in your own way. So that's something I always have to remind myself of. Don't necessarily look at other people's time frames and stuff like that, because everybody's journey is different. When I initially started the coding boot camp, it was really cool that there was later stage people in their career, early career professionals, people who used to be firefighters, teachers, former pharmaceutical sales representatives, all kinds of people that ended up kind of making the career change there. So just like I said, journeys are never linear. And also communication and community go hand in hand. I feel like I'm kind of preaching to the choir here because everybody's here to sort of build a sort of community while communicating. But I think it's just a reminder to not let it stop there. I'm sure a lot of you are on social platforms, whether it's Mastodon or Twitter or wherever you see other iOS developers hang out. But keep doing this, keep going, expanding beyond this, because I think it's a really important part of your journey. When I first started getting involved on Mastodon, I did like the, excuse me, 100 Days of Swift UI, and just started posting about that. And it was really cool to see other people going through their journey at the same time as me. But yeah, this is just an example of different ways that you can try to stay involved with the iOS developer community. And then I think the last one is this one's there is no silver bullet. So what I mean by that is that I recently secured an iOS job, and I know that the job market is pretty turbulent right now. I know that because I was sort of in it while trying to find a job. But I actually started looking probably off and on about January 2023. And I think each time that I was looking, I thought that certain things would basically be the magic thing that would help me get a job. So when I first started looking, I didn't have any iOS experience within my current Java role. And I could tell that it was something that recruiters were looking for. So I was like, hey, maybe this is something that I need to be able to get. So I actually built an iOS app within my current Java job at the time, and basically building that out. And I thought that that would be the answer to getting a job. It was not. I also thought that launching Scribble would basically end up landing me a job right away, and that didn't necessarily work. I think it just matters of everybody has a different spot along their journey where they're able to secure a job or reach a milestone or something like that. But I think it's just a reminder that there's not one answer to solve all your problems or to or to basically get to a goal. So if you have like an arbitrary goal of like, hey, that I could reach this thing and then this thing will happen, usually that's not the case. It's just everybody's journey is different, and it just kind of matters. If you go and follow your passions and follow your heart, then you'll end up where you need to be. But yeah, that was 7 minutes. So thank you for the time.